Hello and welcome back for card number 4 from our September card making class. So this is the last one we're gonna do this month, and as you can see here, it's got a lot of bling, but I just love this color combination. So this is the new paper called Pumpkin Spice. This is on one side. There's the polka dots. We have that chevron type grayish color. There's a striped one in there, and then there's another one with trees, leaves in the background. But these are 3 of the designs that are in this pack. And this is the new color. It's called Harbor. So this is a grayish green, blue, dark blue. It's really pretty. This is our shortbread, and this is papaya. And this also comes, the stem set is a brand new set, and it's called A World with Octobers, and we use 2 of the pumpkins here. We use this one here, and we use that one here. It comes with dice if you want to, or you can just have the kit, but this is a very pretty one. So let's get started. As always, when you pull your things out of your envelope, make sure not to open and shake it or have things flying around. You should have multiple pieces in this one. So this is the inside. Again, make sure that you have your card facing the right way when you assemble it. For right now, so the birthday and the star we don't really need right now. The 2 pumpkins we're gonna cut out later. So here is a little stack of triangles, which you hopefully don't want to move. And you should have 2 big and a small triangle in the gray, 2 big and a small triangle in the polka dot, 2 squares, and a triangle in the pumpkin paper. And we're gonna start with this red paper. So I put my card base aside. You want to grab your squares first, and these are cut at 1.5 by 1.5, and then the triangles are just half of a square, 1.5 by 1.5, and then those tiny little ones is another half of the half, so a quarter of that square. Okay, so let's get started. You want to start arranging your big squares and the triangle first. And even so, it is all hand cut, so it might be a little bit off, but try your best to eyeball it. You can, if you want to, put a center line with a pencil to mark and line up your squares, if this is helping you. So there is a little bit space between each of them, and then a little frame around. So I just leave it like this. I want to try and focus to make this side even. If this isn't too even, no big deal, because we're gonna cover most of it up later anyway, but at least that this one is kind of spaced out evenly. And to adhere them, you can use whatever adhesive you like. So I'm gonna use the liquid one in case I have to move it a little bit. So, but this looks good. Then we do the top one. And this looks good on either side here too. And then our little triangle. Triangle on the bottom. Okay, here we go. There's our card reference. Now let's get to add our polka dot ones. Excuse me. And while this one lines up pretty good, this one seems to be a little bit bigger. So what I'm gonna do is I swap them out. Like I said, they're hand cut, and sometimes it's just one is a little bit off. Okay, so I'm gonna place this one in here. And I just leave a little space there, as you can see. And we're gonna do the second one. Got my bubble water here that explodes in a second. Okay, now we're gonna put this one in here. And you can put your polka dots on one side and the gray on the other, or offset it like I did. I just liked it. Thought it's kind of fun. Okay. So all that's left now is our gray triangles, and they should fit in. Perfect. So I'm gonna put these in. There's one. There is the next one. And one last one. Okay, and there you have it. This base is done. So start in the middle and then fill in your triangles, and put the triangles in and see if you can get a little gap here, and if there's a little frame on the outside. If not, try to swap them, use the other like I did earlier, or if needed, just trim off a little bit. Sometimes that needs to be done too. Okay, now back to grabbing our card base. So this is the inside. So we want to adhere this piece first, and it goes all the way all the way to the left side here, flush top and bottom, and that is looking good. And then we have the blue piece, which lines up. Might stick off over the edge a little bit, but that's okay. We can trim this off. So putting it up here. And the excess, you could overlap it here, but I rather trim it off on the side, and I always use a big scissor. That makes it easier than your small ones. So if you have a big scissor on hand, and then open your card and just go along the edge of your card. There you go. While we're at it, we trim off a little bit of that orange here. And the front of our card is done. And this one here, we can just move right on top here. So in my case earlier, I actually have it overlapping this piece and the blue one. simply because my edge was not as nice and clean as this one is. So and here I just gonna butt it up to my squares. Whoops, that's too much. Don't need that much. Okay, so I overlap those two pieces too, but I just gonna go ahead and butt it straight along my triangles here. All right, now we have to do some fuzzy cutting. So our little pumpkin here. And I normally would have used the dies, but the set was just available with the dies and it wasn't quite here when I had to prep for the September classes, so all I had was the stem set, and so we had to do a little bit fuzzy cutting, but I don't think it's too bad. There's one, and then we do the other one. And this too is stem, tone, and tone, so I used shortbread ink on the shortbread cardstock, and we used papaya ink on the papaya cardstock. And we're almost there. Okay, and for this one I used like a flesh color, a darker red, and a brown. So the brown is just for a little stem. Or stems. This one has one too here. And then I just used red. And all I did was, I mean, the stem set actually indicates already a little bit shading. So I just emphasized this a little bit more with my red pencil here. It's hard to see. One here, same thing. We just want to give it a little bit more definition. Barely noticeable, but when you look up close you can see there's a little bit of coloring on here. And if you have some of our tri-blend markers, any other alcohol markers you have on hand, you can use anything on this one. So I adhered my pumpkin first. Big one that is flat on the card here. For my happy birthday tag, as you can see, there's a frame around. I just used a pencil and went around the edges a little bit. And that's all I did. And this one is raised, so we're gonna pop a few of our foam pieces behind it, and also on this one here. So while I have them in my hand, whoops, okay, since we uncovered this one, might as well use it. Normally I would have been okay with just 2 of the foam things on the back. Okay, take them off, and you can position your little happy birthday phrase here any way you want. This way, this way. So I got mine about here. And then we uncover this one. And this one sits on top here. And our little star. Tucked away over here. And the outside of our card is done. And for the inside, we have a little phrase here. And again, this time I use a black pen. I just did some little squirrels. Did a little shading here, again with a very light hand, just following, you know, where the shade lines are already. And that is our fall happy birthday card. I hope you enjoyed this month's series and had fun assembling them. If you need more instructions or measurements, let me know. If you're interested in getting a set of these 4 cards every month, just contact me. And other than that, stay tuned for October. There will be another 4 cards. This time we start with the Christmas cards. So have a nice day and stay tuned for more. Bye bye.